Welcome back, you beautiful people. It is October 2025. So naturally, we're taking a look back at what happened in September 2025, as well as where we sit year to date for the first 3 quarters of the year. As always, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who you think might like this type of information. We'll jump right into talking about the detached properties for the month of September. The number of sales down by 2.8%, the average price up by 3.4 versus last year. Active listings, we've got 7.9% more active listings, and you can see we are still at the very tail end of a seller's market, moving towards balanced market territory. Of course, balanced market is anywhere between 4 and 6 months of inventory. Year to date, on the detached side of things, we're up by 4% in terms of average number of sales, and we're up by 3.6% in terms of average price. So the values rise month over month by 11,000. So far this year, they've rised by 58,000. So buyers and sellers are definitely coming to terms with the reality of the market. We're definitely seeing things take a little bit of a confusion stop here. Prices are definitely leveling out, potentially even going down a little bit. No one can really predict what's coming, but there's still an undersupply of housing that's going to push up the values long term. That's one thing that you can say with certainty when you think of it in the long term game, regardless of what's going on with the federal government and what they're going to announce moving forward. If you were looking at semis and townhouses, of course, the number of sales up by 32.9% just versus last September. So don't get too excited about that. Average price is down by 4.7%. Active listings, we've got 52.5% more active listings. And you can see we are still in a seller's market. This will be the last market to get caught up to balanced market territory, and I'll just a little bit of foreshadowing here. When we're looking at the apartments, we're already there. We're already in balanced market territory. Year to date in the townhouse and semi-detached world, we are up in terms of number of sales, 16.3, and we're down by 1% in terms of average price point. And it was flat month over month. We've been down a total year to date by $32,000 in this category. It is still definitely the biggest category, and a lot of people are sort of waiting to see what comes in terms of federal employment changes. Major reason the market is really stalling out, as this segment typically represents the beginning segment. And so people will buy and sell their townhouses or semis, move into the detached houses, and the detached houses are still doing okay on their own, but stalling out a little bit compared to what we're expecting. And the apartments, this is the toughest hit segment. The number of sales down by 19.2%, the average price down by 0.5, active listings up at 843. And we're in 5.1 months of inventory, which does make it a balanced market. So if you're selling a condo, price aggressively. If you're buying a condo, some really great opportunities out there. Again, you can see the number of sales is down drastically by 18.1%. Average price is down by 0.5. I think there's a correlation. These numbers that the board is putting out are wacky. I think there's a correlation between the rise of the townhouses and semis and the decrease, which is almost the same at 18%, about 20% decrease in the apartments and an increase of about 20% in the townhouses. I think that what happened is in the past, they were plugging in the condo townhouses to this, and they changed that over. And that's why the numbers look so drastic in both of these different categories, because we're not selling a lot more or a lot less than we were last year. I think it's just categorized differently. So we jumped 17,000 month over month. Before that, earlier this year, we've been down by 16,000 year to date. So our total net for the first 3 quarters of 2025 is up by 1,000. The condo segment seems to be getting hit the hardest, but again, there might be that differentiation that I was just talking about. The residential sector continues to carry the overall market, the detached sector, and there's probably some smart buys in the condo world if you are looking for what is the best buy long term. Of course, the market will rebound. It always rebounds. We typically have 7-year cycles. We hit our peak in 2022, and we're back to a bit of a flat area right now. We noticed this back in 2015. The Ottawa market is flooded with federal employees, and when the federal employees all get that note saying you might or might not have a job next year, we saw the highest number of listings that we've seen in our market in we haven't seen it again since then. We almost hit 10,000 active listings across all segments. We've not been there since. And so that's where we might get back to, depending on what happens with these announcements from the federal government about employment, specifically because I think it's about 30 to 50% of the people who are living in Ottawa are employed by the federal government. So a little bit of concern moving forwards in terms of course, what happens is if we get more supply and the demand stays the same, the prices get pushed down. Basic economics. If you'd like an idea of how all of this impacts you and your family, if you're thinking about moving this year or next year, or even into 2027, what all this means, whether you're buying, whether you're selling, whether it's a condo, a townhouse, a detached house, an investment property, whatever it is, please feel free to reach out. My team and I are more than happy to help. The number, as always, 1-888-REAL585. And until next time, keep it real, collective.